Okay, so we live in this world just absolutely saturated with information, right? Online, everywhere. And figuring out what's true, what's reliable. It's getting harder. How do you cut through all that noise? How do you spot the misinformation and actually trust the data you're using? Whether it's, for big decisions or just trying to understand things. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into something pretty fascinating. It's this approach that's mixing AI, crypto, and data science to tackle these exact problems. We'll be looking at Numerai. It's a erasure protocol, which sounds ambitious, and the Numeraire token, NMR. Trying to figure out how they built this system where, insights have real stakes behind them. We've pulled together info from their official blog, some crypto exchange analyses, and even some pretty lively community forum chats. So should be a good, well-rounded look.
Yeah.
Get ready. This might just change how you think about, verifiable knowledge. So let's start right there with the basic problem. Information itself. It's a weird thing, isn't it? It just kind of pops up. You often don't know if it's any good until you've already, spent time on it. And once it's out, anyone can copy it for free.
Yeah.
It makes it incredibly tough to price it correctly or trust its value.
Yeah. And what's really striking is how this isn't just some abstract issue. It becomes a real sharp pain point in places where the stakes are high. Think about finance, for example.
Okay.
Traditional hedge funds, they're famously secretive, right? Guarding their data, their strategies really fiercely. But that secrecy, it kind of backfires sometimes. It makes it hard for them to even know if their market signals are truly original or if they're just doing the same work as everyone else.
Right. They're worried about others copying them, but maybe they're just replicating stuff themselves without knowing.
Exactly. And that lack of transparency, ironically, often stops them from consistently beating the market because they're just unwilling to share or collaborate, even if it could lead to better insights overall.
That's a perfect setup for Numerai. How do you even start fixing a problem that fundamental? This brings us to Numerai, founded back in 2015 by Richard Crabe, Cornell math grad, quant background. And his whole idea was to shake up that old school, closed-off hedge fund model. He envisioned a decentralized fund, crowdsourcing intelligence from data scientists all over the world.
Precisely. And Numerai's method is, pretty clever, especially the security part. They take complex financial data, turn it into machine learning problems. But here's the twist. They ran the world's first encrypted data science tournament.
Encrypted? How does that work?
So data scientists download these data sets, just standard CSV files. They build their predictive models for the stock market, right? But then they only submit their predictions back to Numerai. The actual data they downloaded, it's encrypted. It's done in a way that keeps the mathematical structure intact for modeling, but it hides the actual financial details. You can't tell what stocks or assets you're predicting.
So the scientists can build models, but can't steal the underlying strategy.
Exactly. And Numerai gets the predictions, but they can't see the scientists' algorithms. It protects everyone's intellectual property. It really just becomes a pure math problem, completely context-free.
Okay, but if the data is hidden, how do they make sure the predictions are any good? How do they, reward people? And this is where the incentive system comes in, the real engine, it sounds like. Data scientists have to stake their predictions using Numeraire, NMR. That's Numerai's own cryptocurrency token, right?
Yeah.
The ERC20 token on Ethereum.
Yes, exactly. An ERC20 token, meaning it fits into that wider Ethereum ecosystem. And this staking, this skin in the game, it's absolutely crucial. Participants lock up some NMR in a smart contract. Think of it like a digital escrow that automatically follows the rule.
Right, self-executing.
If their predictions are good, if they perform well, they get rewarded with more NMR, often up to 25% of their stake weekly. But, and this is key, if their predictions are bad or they don't beat the benchmark. Then a chunk of their staked NMR, again, potentially up to 25% weekly, gets burned.
Burned? Like destroyed?
Permanently destroyed, removed from the total supply forever. And Numerai's paid out over $20 million to data scientists this way. It's pretty strong proof that staked data is just, better data. And interestingly, the people who stake more NMR tend to be more accurate. It's like a quantifiable measure of confidence.
Wow.
So this helps Numerai decide where to put its capital based on these high-confidence, anonymous predictions.
So Numerai gathers all these thousands of models, combines them into this meta model, like a model of models.
Exactly.
Using diversification to get lower errors, less risk. Makes sense. And they also have this Signals app, where people can submit signals from their own data.
That's right. So they're not just limited to Numerai's encrypted data. They can bring their own insights, their own data sources, and stake on those too.
Okay. And you mentioned the numbers, over 30,000 participants, 1,200 staked models used each week. That's significant engagement. People are clearly willing to risk real value on their information.
Absolutely. And the really profound thing here isn't just about getting better stock picks. It's that they found a way to actually measure confidence economically.
Right. The amount you risk reflects how sure you are.
Precisely. They created this system where the economic risk someone takes directly relates to how reliable their insight is likely to be. That's pretty novel for building trust when everyone's anonymous.
But then the Numerai team started thinking bigger, didn't they?
Yeah.
They asked, okay, if staking works so well for tricky financial data, could it work for like any information online?
That's exactly the leap they made, and that question led to the Erasure protocol, which they launched in 2018. This really broadened the use of NMR way beyond just the Numerai tournament.
So Erasure is what exactly? Like a platform?
Think of it more as an open foundational system, a decentralized protocol. It uses the same core ideas, encryption, smart contracts, NMR staking, but aims to create this trusted place for exchanging any kind of valuable info online, not just finance. And it's built on these three core building blocks, or primitives as they call them: payment, recourse, and track record.
Okay, primitives. Payment, recourse, track record. That sounds a bit abstract. Can you break those down? Like, how would they actually work in practice?
Sure, yeah, let's unpack them. It helps show the power of the setup. First, payment. Pretty straightforward, it's just about the exchange. A buyer might stake some NMR to show they're serious about buying info, and the seller stakes NMR to back up the quality of their data. How much they stake kind of signals their confidence.
Okay.
The data itself can be encrypted, so only the buyer can read it once they've paid. And importantly, all these transactions get logged forever on the Ethereum blockchain. You can even stake data without selling it, just to make a permanent, time-stamped claim about something.
Right, like proving you knew something at a certain time.
Exactly. Then you have recourse. This is the punishment part, and it's really interesting. It lets people hold each other accountable by basically threatening the money they've staked.
Threatening how?
So, say a buyer gets bad info, a wrong price, fake news, maybe just spam. They can grief the seller. That means they can trigger a process to destroy some of the seller's stake. There's this punish ratio, like maybe the seller set it at 1 to 9. That means the buyer can destroy 9 NMR of the seller's stake, but it costs them 1 NMR of their own stake to do it.
Ah, so it costs money to punish someone. That stops people just doing it randomly?
Precisely. It discourages just being malicious.
Yeah.
But the threat that someone could burn your stake is often enough to keep people honest.
Okay, that makes sense. And the last one, track record.
Track record. This is basically everyone's permanent history on the blockchain. Think of it like your reputation score on eBay or Amazon, but way more robust because it's backed by actual economic consequences. You can see every transaction, every time someone staked something, and crucially, anytime their stake got burned because they provided bad info or broke an agreement.
So a good track record means lots of NMR staked and no burns.
Pretty much. A large stake plus a clean history signals quality and reliability, all without needing to reveal the actual information itself until someone pays for it. It's trust built on verifiable actions.
It's easy to get caught up in the tech side, but I'm trying to picture this. Beyond the theory, how could Erasure actually show up in our daily digital lives? For us users, or maybe for developers building stuff?
Yeah, good question. And they explicitly designed Erasure like data Legos. That means developers, especially those in Web3 building decentralized apps, can pick and choose these pieces to build all sorts of stake-based systems.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, well, imagine a calendar app. Maybe to accept a really important meeting invite, both people have to stake a bit of NMR. If you don't show up, your stake gets burned. Real consequences for flaking.
Huh. I could use that sometime.
Right. Or think about email, an email client where you could literally burn the stake of someone sending you persistent spam.
Ooh, satisfying.
Or maybe a news feed where stories are ranked not just by clicks, but by how much NMR the source is staked behind its reporting. Or even advertising, where advertisers stake NMR to back up their claims.
So the more reputable sources would naturally rise to the top because they have more to lose.
That's the idea. And Numerai itself, the hedge fund part, has already moved its own staking system onto the Erasure protocol. There's even an app called Erasure Bay out there, which is like a general marketplace. People can use it to buy or sell pretty much any kind of information using stablecoins like USDC for the actual payment.
But the NMR staking and burning still happens in the background.
Exactly. NMR handles the trust, the recourse, the track record, while a stablecoin handles the simple payment part.
This really does take it way beyond just finance then. What strikes me is it's not just about sharing info. It's like building a digital CV that actually has, real money behind it.
Economic weight.
Yeah. Unlike just star ratings, your reputation here is tied to your assets. It feels like a whole new kind of trust system.
Yeah.
But the scale of bad info online is just huge. Can economic incentives like this really be enough to fix that? Are there limits?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it connects directly to the bigger picture. I mean, just imagine, what if, say, Reddit users actually had something real to lose if they posted blatant misinformation?
Things might be different.
Right. Or what if troll farms couldn't just flood platforms consequence-free? What if a news outlet had a financial stake that could literally be burned if they were found to be pushing fake news repeatedly? Or an advertiser misleading people?
It introduces accountability where there often isn't much right now.
Exactly. This protocol offers a really compelling way to maybe start filtering and judging information quality, especially as the sheer volume online just keeps growing. The core idea, the vision, is that maybe, just maybe, the only reliable way left to tell good info from bad will come down to how much value its creators willing to stake on it and what their verifiable economic track record looks like.
Okay, it sounds incredibly innovative, really ambitious. But, like you find with a lot of these cutting-edge technologies, it hasn't all been smooth sailing, has it? Our sources, especially those community forums, they definitely highlighted some debates, some friction points, particularly around the numeraire token, NMR itself.
Yeah, this brings up a really key point of tension, the volatility of NMR. You see a lot of frustration from the data scientists in the numeraire tournaments about this. They work hard, build accurate models, earn NMR rewards, but then the value of that NMR can swing wildly because of the general crypto market.
So their actual earnings in dollar terms become really unpredictable.
Totally unpredictable. Some people on the forums were saying things like, 80% of their profit or loss might come from NMR price swings, not even from how good their model was.
Wow, that must be incredibly frustrating.
It is, and it's led to pretty strong calls from some in the community for numeraire to maybe switch to staking in US dollars or at least stable coins, things that don't fluctuate so much.
Citing, I guess, unfair risk. And maybe issues with actually cashing out NMR if the trading pairs aren't very liquid.
Exactly those concerns. Unfair risk, thin liquidity in some NMR to fiat markets.
So it sounds like the very thing that makes it global and innovative, the crypto token, also creates this big financial headache for the users. But there's a strong defense for keeping NMR central, right? What did the community say were the best reasons for sticking with NMR, even with those risks?
Oh yeah, there are very strong counter-arguments. Advocates will point out that without NMR, those massive payouts, tens of millions of dollars, probably just wouldn't have been possible. Remember, early on, numeraire essentially created this value with NMR tokens. It let them bootstrap the whole thing and incentivize people globally on a scale that would have been, impossible using traditional money.
Right, trying to send small international payments constantly would be a nightmare.
A compliance and logistical nightmare. And that's the other big point. Using a crypto token like NMR lets them sidestep a huge amount of regulatory burden. Think about the KYC, know your customer rules, anti-money laundering checks, all the stuff that comes with handling fiat currencies globally for thousands of anonymous users.
It would be incredibly complex.
Many believe it would have just buried the project right at the start. And Richard Crabe, the founder, his vision for numeraire seems to go way beyond just being another hedge fund. To achieve those bigger goals, those network effects with erasure, it probably needs to stay rooted in crypto.
So it's that classic trade-off in innovation, isn't it? You've got the stability and predictability some users really want versus the global reach, the powerful, unique incentives, and maybe the regulatory freedom that the native token gives them right now. It's a tricky balance.
It's a very tricky balance, but what's quite telling, despite all the talk about volatility, is that the actual data shows the amount of NMR being staked, both in the main numeraire tournament and in signals, keeps going up.
Oh, really? Even with the price swings?
Yeah. Currently, something like 12% of all the circulating NMR is locked up in these staking contracts. That's about 6.1 million NMR in total circulation right now. So that growth, even when maybe the payout ratios aren't as high as they once were, it suggests people still have confidence. The community seems engaged, and maybe they see that crypto risk as just, part of the deal, a cost worth paying for the potential upside and the overall vision.
So today we've really dug into numeraire, its pretty groundbreaking use of AI and this whole skin in the game idea with the Numera token, and then the even bigger vision of the erasure protocol. It's clear this isn't just about picking stocks better. It's really an evolving framework trying to build a more trustworthy, more verifiable information economy online. Feels like a really bold experiment using tech to try and bring some real accountability to our digital world, from finance all the way to maybe just everything we read and share. And as we all try to navigate this absolute flood of information online every day, financial news, regular news, social media, everything, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could staking real value, building these transparent, provable track records, could that actually be the best way, maybe even the only way, we could eventually sort the signal from the noise? Definitely something to think about as our digital lives keep getting more complex.